Greetings, dear precious spirit soul that you are. And you know we're using words to try and describe you who is and are beyond definitions. Words can never describe who you are or what that means or what that's involved. And yet we're using words to help us to get back to who we are so that we remember who we are and we never forget. Now, we're going to do something today, and this talk is that, my topic would be, it only takes 21 days to change a habit. We tend to be creatures of habit, and that means predictable. When we're following patterns, when we're following a script, when we're playing a role, when we've constructed our consciousness in such a way as to attain what it is that we've been taught to believe is valuable and important, and what you can have, you see, as a person in this world, in this reality. So what we do repetitively is a habit. And it's just like the habit that keeps creeping back on me at times. And as I remember it, I change that is to say, you see. I would be talking, giving a talk, and then I would say, you see. Well, I'm more of a visual in the sense that I can watch how something operates, just like I got this pressure cooker, electric. And so I went on the YouTube to find out how to use it, which is great. And yet there isn't our instructions there, but we get dependent on those support systems. And it's really important to have a support system, and that we're going to look at that. And one of the first steps in changing habits, and that means even make knowing who you are a habit. It doesn't mean a habit's wrong. It means that what you do repetitively becomes a habit, and it can move to the level, and does, of unconscious, and you don't even know that you're doing it. And one of the ways that we can perceive what those habits are is simply by hearing what I'm talking about right now, and the sense that you want to look at what your habits are. What do you do automatically? And those are thoughts that you think that come through the mind, that you believe, rules, laws, how you believe everything is, how you behave. It's like even in dancing. I move a lot, water, because the body's mostly water. So I keep it jiggling and moving, and it doesn't become like a swamp because it's alive. And our nature is activity, because this is who we are as a living entity, according to the ancient teachings of the Vedas. And it makes sense that we're the energy of the energetic, and we are life force ourselves. So we are life. And what happens when we start to, you want to notice what your habits are. And one of the ways we perceive that, especially like in dancing, I would notice people will do the same move over and over. This is their dance. So the whole dance. Or maybe it's this leg. Or it's like, do. Well, people drive the same way to their work or to different places, might go to the same places all the time. Say the same things. You might have that, like the line, if you're going to meet some nice chick, some girls, you say, hey, man, you don't sweat much for a fat girl. Thinking that's a compliment. That's not a compliment. But anyway, and you wonder why the women run the other way. Okay. Or the men, whatever you're into. So the habit then is something that starts, and after a while, we don't even notice that it's a habit. And so what I would do, like with dancing, is I keep my body, and I also have a trampoline, a little jumper trampoline that I keep right before one of my workstations at my office and home, where I could just jiggle, 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 jiggle on this a little bit everywhere, and to do what you really want to do, and that's what we're going to get to in a moment. But to do what you really want to do, you want to have the habit that does that. You want to be doing that. But you also want to eliminate any habits that you have that are depowering, that are working against you, that are not giving you what you want and what you desire. You can learn anything. Don't let anybody tell you, well, your astrology sign says this, and that's never going to happen to you, and this is going to happen to you, and that's like, well, that might have been your script when you came into this world at that time as a program. And when you break your program, that means when you notice all of the habits, you notice your family habits, you notice the customs, you notice those religious habits, like one day I was at a spiritual gathering, and this little girl, just very precocious, adorable little girl, says to me, "See that lady over there? She's all puffed up." And oh dear, I did the thing I wasn't supposed to do, but I'm back now. Okay. She's all puffed up. And I said, well, do you know what puffed up means? She said, no. I said, well, that's it. She heard somebody say that was a conceited lady, but she was all puffed up. But the little girl just says it because her mother said it and because it's a habit. There's like a story that went that this person had would always cut off the two ends of this ham that she would, animal product she would make for the holidays. And she'd cut off either end before she put it in the baking pan. And her daughter said, "Mom, why do you do that?" She said, "Well, I don't know. Your grandma did that. My mom did that." So grandma was there, and she said, "Mom, why do you cut off two ends of the ham to cook at the pig?" She said, "Well, because the pan wasn't big enough." How many activities are we involved in because that's what we did, and we keep doing that same thing? So like in dancing or moving or anything, I like to dance and I like to move and do this sort of thing, but I'm using that as, exercise. So like I'm a yogi. I do all the yoga, but also in my kitchen, I could bend down way low and get the pots and pans, and move that. Then go way high, and then I could stretch way out here. If I want to stretch here, I could, because I don't have that same habit. And when we're rigid in the body, it's also like keeping the spine active like this. Okay. And why it only takes 21 days to change a habit. And after a while, when it becomes part of what you do consciously, and you may be already, is you could change anything instantly at the moment that you want to. And you do then something different. You do what you want instead of being a stimulus response machine. And that's the same thing that happens when we're always reacting to what other people are saying. We're reacting to whether we think they like us or they don't like us, or they're talking behind our back, or and saying bad things about, all of this, this is the mind. Okay. And to be able to conquer and control the mind, part of that is and part of this whole program of not program, but opportunity to liberate ourselves from all these layers of ignorance and thought forms and belief systems and all of this that we've been living under instead of fully expressing and being who we are, has to do with your ability to witness, to observe. And as you witness and observe, you can watch your patterns and your habits and then change them, do a little something different, and then to be able to support yourself in these desired changes. And like, for instance, if there's something I want to remember, I'll make sure I put it on a card and I put it right on the floor as I walk out the door, because I'm going to see that right there. And you say, well, why would you need that? Why do you need all that? Well, because then I don't have to focus on trying to remember it. I put everything there when it's like packing to go somewhere. Start early and you start putting stuff out. And every time you think about it, you move one more thing over there. And it's also, again, another way is always moving something forward. So when I lived once, I was living in LA for a while, and there were these stairs up to the loft. And I would then get something, my office was up there. So I would put whatever I wanted to be working on the stairs. And then if I'd pass by, I'd just move it up the stairs, or unless I was going up that way. But it was going up into my priorities. And by the time it got the top or whatever, wherever I took it, I was ready to do that thing. So it only takes 21 days to change a habit. And we tend to be creatures of habit, habitually being in the same political group, the same religion, the same social group, the same category. And we have all the same beliefs that maybe our family had, or a mate had, or a teacher, or a system. And the key is you want to be a hollow bamboo in that sense, that the divine can express through you on a moment-to-moment basis. And as it expresses through you, it is clear, it is pristine. This is who you really are, without habits that are depowering you, making the body sick. Just even like if years ago, it was fabulous. I did Rolfing. It was 10 sessions. I had a Rolf. Fabulous. Because my body was tilting this way. And I had these deep wrinkles on this side because I'd been shot in my legs when I was by a .22 bullet when I was 4.5, broken at skiing, did all this stuff. And as I would sit too, you compensate. Your body gets into these little weird positions and you compensate for that. So how do you get yourself back in alignment? Most people say, oh, it's too late, you can't do it. Or people who are walking, looking at their text messages like this are going to get a hump on their back. They stop the energy from going, the blood to the brain, and it stops here at the base of the neck, where they call that the reptilian brain. So they're based in fear and anxiety, depression, okay, that comes from the habit of their head. Simple thing like that, you see? So you want to develop the habits that you want. And one of the habits that you want to develop is the habit of being spontaneous, you see, so that you're without encumbrances. So anyway, so that is the lesson for today. And to realize, and we'll get on to the next, the next point, is to, first of all, is to observe and watch what habits you have. And when you can, and when you realize that, change that habit. Do something different. And if every day for 21 days you do something in the direction of what you want, you will have developed a habit very easily that is empowering to you, you see, rather than depowering. Isn't that nice?